Hey everyone, welcome back to Girl Talk. Thank you so much for joining me. As always, before we get started, if you could give me a like, share, a thumbs up, comment, and don't forget to hit that subscribe button, I would appreciate it. So today we're going to go into day number 7 of the Lindsay Clancy trial. And we're going to do, like yesterday, just some takeaways and things like that. And we actually got this from East Idaho News. And I actually think I misspoke yesterday because we got it from the same one yesterday. I really like this guy. It was a short day. I think there was only maybe 3 or 4 that testified. In the morning, they did go over some stipulations. I did take that part out. It was just the judge talking and things like that. So we will get right into some of the testimony. There's only, I don't know, maybe about 15, 20 minutes. Um, I do know that today and tomorrow they are supposed to be full days. So I figured today we'll get this out of the way and then we'll do our regular pod. And then tomorrow we can focus on probably getting today's and tomorrow's up. I'm just trying to think. I'll get it figured out. Let's get started.
Reports as far as what was in Lindsay's system when she was brought into the hospital. And we also heard about DNA prints on exercise bands. The day started off by talking about Lindsay Clancy's injuries. Remember, if you're just tuning in for this trial, quick recap. This is a mother of 3 who is accused of killing her children by strangling them with exercise bands. She doesn't dispute the fact that she did it, but the dispute, the question is whether she should be held criminally responsible for these crimes. She says that she was psychotic, that she was having a mental breakdown, she had postpartum psychosis, that she had tried to reach out for help multiple times in multiple ways to different doctors and was brushed aside or not effectively treated. Her husband, ex-husband, former husband, I should say, is standing by her, says that the woman on trial now is not the woman he married. And so that is the defense. Prosecution says no, she knew what she was doing. She should be held criminally responsible. A lot of the time, after the deaths of the children, by the way, she jumped out of the second-story window of their home in an attempt to commit suicide. Did not succeed. She survived, but she is paralyzed. Now, most of this morning, a lot of this morning, was over the wounds on Lindsay Clancy's wrists after that suicide attempt. Commonwealth says that these murders were premeditated and that she faked that attempted suicide. She says, and her attorney, Kevin Reddington, says these wounds were far more serious and she was suffering from that postpartum psychosis. The first witness was a guy named Eaton Negri. He's a physician associate at Brigham Women's Hospital in the ICU. He helped manage Lindsay's care. Listen.
She had multiple injuries. The most acute were injuries that were requiring consultation with other services, and the ones that I directly managed were the lacerations to her wrists and just her wrists, actually.
And as far as when you say she had other acute injuries, you were not involved in the care of her for those, correct?
I was involved in the care that involved consulting other services to manage those things, yes.
Okay, and as far as any sort of repair work that you were doing as a physician's assistant working with the trauma surgeons, what repair work were you assigned to do?
Laceration repair.
And on this particular patient, where were the injuries or lacerations that you were going to repair?
She had multiple lacerations on both of her wrists. She had superficial on her neck, which I did not repair.
Okay. And as it pertained to the wrists, did you go through that process of observing, reviewing, coming up with a plan, and then repairing those injuries?
Yes.
And were you directed to do that by any particular doctor?
Not necessarily directed. A lot of those things fall within my scope, and since they were less acute, they kind of fell down the chain to me.
Now, he testified that the wounds on Lindsay's right wrist were cut 3 centimeters deep and more severe than the left side, and it required 3 stitches. In cross-examination, Reddington, the defense attorney, asked if Lindsay was critically ill at the time that she was brought into the hospital, and he replied yes. Reddington brought up the repeated usage of the word superficial that the Commonwealth, the prosecution, has repeatedly used, saying that the wounds were superficial as far as referring to Lindsay's injuries.
You've had occasion to speak to the prosecutors on this case, and they've asked you about the superficial injury to her wrist, right?
Correct.
In addition to the, as indicated on page 75 of the Brigham and Women's Hospital record that I have, and we can fix that with other records if it doesn't coincide, there's a note from Dr. Anderson that the right upper extremity, 3.5 centimeter deep laceration of the volar aspect of the wrist, left upper extremity, 2 centimeter deep laceration on the volar aspect of the wrist. Do you agree with that assessment?
Yes, sir.
All right. And then you were able to, as you say, clean it up with saline or whatever, and then you stitched up what you had to stitch up, right?
Yes, sir.
Did you have anything to do with the massive transfusion that she had?
No, sir.
Do you have anything to do with the treatment of the transected spine that she had, the shattered spine?
No, sir.
Do you have anything whatsoever to do with the insertion of tubes on both sides of her body and the draining of the blood that had pooled in her middle cavity?
Just the management of those tubes after, but not the placement.
Okay. So you were there while that was done?
I was there managing once they had been placed, but I was not there for the placement of them.
Okay, but you knew that they were in there, that they were draining the blood. Okay. And do you know where the blood came from that was in her middle extremity?
I don't know specifically. I'd have to refer back to the imaging reports.
In any event, you know that shortly thereafter she coded, right?
Yes.
Were you there for that?
No, sir.
And basically, that means that the patient has, in effect, died from cardiac arrest, right?
Not necessarily died, but their heart has stopped beating for that.
And then there's the crash teams and everybody hopefully revives the person, right?
Correct.
And you guys did that, or they did, and they were successful reviving her, correct? So without going through everything, you'd agree with me, sir, that your observations would be of the wrist, the repair, and the taking care of the tubes after they were inserted into both sides of her chest.
That's correct.
And that was your involvement extended, correct? You're all done
I was involved in the ongoing management of her care throughout the day, but just as you stated, not the things that you asked me about.
Okay, thank you, sir.
Now, after we heard from this witness, the next one up on the stand, State Police Toxicology Crime Lab Specialist Nicholas Roberts. He was the reporting analyst for Lindsay Clancy's blood and urine samples. He said that there were a lot of prescription drugs found in her body. Remember, we've gone through that list several times. She'd been prescribed multiple things over the weeks and months leading up to the deaths of the children. She wasn't taking them all at once. She was supposed to be taking them, trying one, and if it didn't work, moving on to the next one. But he testified that, yeah, there were a lot of medicines in her system, but no alcohol.
The toxicology report for item 10-101 on the blood with those benzodiazepines, there's diazepam, correct?
Yes.
Norodiazepam.
Yes.
Oxazepam.
Yep.
Temazepam.
Yes.
And lorazepam.
Yes.
And as far as your review of the testing on those substances and the concentration levels, did anything about any of those levels stand out to you as far as based on your training and experience?
Only that they were reportable.
Okay. Are you familiar whether they're in any sort of therapeutic level for any of those drugs?
I'm not sure.
Okay. You mentioned there were also other substances that were detected in the general unknown screen, correct?
Yes.
And that would have been mirtazapine, lamotrigine, quetiapine metabolite, and trazodone.
Yes.
And was your lab able to get concentration levels for those?
No.
And so what did you do, or what was done with the samples or the specimens as it pertained to those substances?
To my knowledge, it was sent to NMS labs.
And you've previously stated that you are trained on effects of certain types of drugs, but your limitation is you don't know how it affects a particular individual, correct?
Correct.
These particular 5 benzodiazepines, do you know where they fall in the type of drug, what the general effects of those drugs are?
Benzos tend to be central nervous system depressants.
Okay. And the ones that were detected, but you don't have the levels for, mirtazapine, and the list I read, what category are those drugs?
Those tend to be central nervous system depressants. Quetiapine in particular is usually known to treat bipolar disorder or schizophrenia.
And as it pertains to the presence of the 5 benzodiazepines, your testing is limited in that you don't know whether that was from one medication or multiple medications, correct?
Correct, because the nordiazepam, oxazepam, and temazepam tend to be metabolites of diazepam. The next witness on the stand was Justin Brower, a forensic scientist and toxicologist at NMS Lab. He conducted further testing on Lindsay's blood and urine samples. He broke down all of the medications that were in her body and what they are classified as.
Would you like me just to run down the list?
Sure.
We detected lamotrigine in a concentration of 6.1 micrograms per milliliter. Mirtazapine at a concentration of 200 nanograms per milliliter. Quetiapine at a concentration of 1,800 nanograms per milliliter. And trazodone at a concentration of 0.44 micrograms per milliliter. And these were all in blood.
And so with each drug that you just listed, are you familiar with what the common name is for the drugs?
I'm not always that great with common names, but I can wing it.
Okay. Well, the lamotrigine, and forgive me if I botched
That's okay.
the pronunciation, that's also referred to commonly as Lamictal.
It is correct, Lamictal.
What kind of drug is that?
It's typically used as an anti-seizure medication. So if somebody has a seizure disorder, it can be prescribed to alleviate seizures, but it is also used for bipolar disorder as well.
And mirtazapine, fair to say that's commonly referred to as Remeron.
Correct.
And what kind of drug is that?
That is typically an antidepressant.
And quetiapine, what's that common drug?
Quetiapine is known as Seroquel.
And fair to say that's an antipsychotic as well for bipolar?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you familiar with whether that often can be prescribed in low doses for sleep?
It is. It can be for insomnia.
And trazodone, what's the common name for trazodone, if you know?
I am drawing a blank on the trazodone.
If I suggest trazamine, is that familiar?
Not the one that I'm most familiar with, and I apologize.
That's okay, but you're familiar with trazodone.
Correct.
And what class of drug is that?
That's an antidepressant.
Now, in your review of the levels that were detected in these 4 tests for each of these substances, do any of these levels appear to be outside therapeutic concentration levels?
The only one that's a little elevated would be the quetiapine.
Now, Brower said that the amount of medicine in Lindsay Clancy's system was significant, but not significant enough, high enough for a suicidal dose or even an attempted suicide. The drugs in her system were all antidepressants and antipsychosis medicines that affect the central nervous system. It's not like those powerful narcotics that you could overdose on and it could take your life. Instead, these were depressants, and antipsychosis medicines.
In other words, what you're saying is that the numbers alone do not tell the tale of what happened to a particular individual, right?
Correct. They don't tell the entire story.
Right. And you're, for NMS Laboratory, you were retained or working for the DA's office, these people here, right?
That was the submitting agency. Correct.
And they certainly were not constrained from picking up the phone and calling you and telling you that this is blood from a woman that threw herself out a window and tried to kill herself after cutting her wrists and her neck. They could have told you that, right? Well, overruled.
It's possible that does happen in rare occasions in high-profile cases.
Right. And so that would have been something, for example, the facts that you wanted to know, that you would have liked to have known to kind of round out your opinion about the actual level of the drugs in the blood that you examined, right?
It's not necessary.
Well, it's not necessary, but you did indicate that you would like to not give an opinion without the facts.
Correct.
Okay.
Today.
From the witness stand.
Correct. I don't have all the information.
Of course. And the word therapeutic, is that consistent with, in other words, the treatment level of a particular narcotic or drug in the blood?
Correct. It's the concentration of the drug in the body to elicit an effect or the desired effect.
Judge then called for a short break. After the break, he spoke to the jury about more stipulations that had been put in place by both parties. We talked about this yesterday. There's been a lot of stipulations in this trial that both sides agree, yes, what the prosecution says is true, and what the defense isn't arguing with it. So we're going to leave it as it is. And so that's where he's at. That's where they were at today. There was more stipulations that the jury found out about, and they haven't released all the documents about what these stipulations are that we know of, but today the stipulations referenced DNA found on the 3 exercise bands that were wrapped around the children's necks.
So use some DNA profiles that had been generated in the lab for Dawson Clancy, Cora Clancy, Callan Clancy, Patrick Clancy, and Lindsay Clancy.
Yes, they utilized known standards that were developed from those individuals.
And known standards, are those basically the DNA profiles for each of those individuals?
Yes, known standards are samples collected directly from a known individual for comparison purposes.
And going to item 2-2.1.1, the swabs from the ends of the yellow exercise band, what were your findings?
So I'm going to start with a general statement for this report as a whole. The presence of multiple first-degree relatives in a mixture DNA profile can impact overall interpretation, including the determination of the number of contributors and likelihood ratios. Relatedness was considered for the following results. For item 2-2.1.1, sample from ends of yellow exercise band located in basement office, 47 Summer Street. The DNA profile is a mixture, including male DNA. Due to the possible relatedness of low-level contributors to this profile, an alternate number of contributors was considered. First, assuming 2 contributors. The DNA profile is a mixture of at least 2 contributors, including male DNA. Contributors 1 and 2 are suitable for comparison. The DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 2 contributors. The DNA profile from this item is at least 1.7 nonillion times more likely if it originated from Dawson Clancy and an unknown individual than if it originated from 2 unknown unrelated individuals. This provides support that Dawson Clancy is included as a contributor to this DNA profile. Cora Clancy, Callan Clancy, Patrick Clancy, and Lindsay Clancy are excluded from this DNA profile. Assuming 3 contributors. The DNA profile was interpreted as a mixture of 3 contributors. Contributor 1 is suitable for comparison. Due to limited information and possible relatedness of contributors, contributors 2 and 3 are not suitable for comparison. The DNA profile from this item is at least 920 octillion times more likely if it originated from Dawson Clancy and 2 unknown individuals than if it originated from 3 unknown unrelated individuals. This provides support that Dawson Clancy is included to this DNA profile. Cora Clancy, Callan Clancy, Patrick Clancy, and Lindsay Clancy are excluded from contributor 1 of this DNA profile.
And direct your attention to item 14-1, a swab from stain B on the backside of the house, 47 Summer Street. What were your findings regarding that swab?
The female DNA profile was interpreted as originating from a single contributor.
The DNA profile from this item is at least 18 octillion times more likely if it originated from Lindsay Clancy than if it originated from an unknown, unrelated individual. This provides support that Lindsay Clancy is included as a contributor to this DNA profile. Dawson Clancy, Cora Clancy, Callan Clancy, and Patrick Clancy are excluded from this DNA profile.
Those samples of blood came back with Lindsay's DNA on them. No surprise there. It would have been a surprise if it was somebody else, but there was no surprise there. The next witness was named Elaine Rossi. Now, this was quite emotional, especially for Lindsay Clancy, as the former nanny, Elaine, testified. She worked for the Clancy family back in the summer of 2022. 15-year-plus nanny came to the family home after answering a post from the family looking for a part-time nanny. She met the family in their home. She remembers sitting in their backyard and talking.
And what was the purpose of kind of meeting at their home in the backyard?
It was to get familiar with the kids, just for an introductory meeting. I got to hold Callan and play with Cora and Dawson a little bit and talk to Lindsay and Patrick.
And so at that time, Cora was 4, right?
Yes.
And Dawson was 3.
Yes.
And Callan was an infant.
Yes.
Now, as a result of your kind of interview or interaction with them, what eventually happened with your relationship with the Clancys? Did you become their nanny?
I did.
And did you communicate with Lindsay about what the expectations of the job were going to be?
I did.
So what was your role or your expectations of the role?
My role was to take care of Callan when she went back to work.
Okay, and did you know when that was expected to happen?
I believe right around Thanksgiving.
And did you start working for them prior to that? Prior to November?
Yes, I did. I started first week in September of 2022.
And so while the original terms were for you to primarily watch Callan, did you take on a slightly different role in between September and November?
I did.
And so what were the responsibilities, or what did the Clancys ask you to do for the family during the time of September through essentially when you stopped working for them?
It was to get to know the family, to get to know how they worked as a family, to get to know their schedule, and essentially mostly to take care of Callan. Occasionally, Cora and Dawson would be home, and I would interact with them as well.
So going into it, you knew that you would sometimes be spending time with Cora and Dawson.
Yes.
But to your understanding, were they at the home all the time?
No, they were at school.
And other than caring for Callan, did you agree to take on some other responsibilities in the household?
I did.
And what were those responsibilities?
It was food prep, light housekeeping, laundry, things like that.
Was that something that you offered to do as part of your services, or were you asked to do it?
I offered initially. I said that those were things I did as a nanny for previous families.
Elaine started working for the family 3 days a week from about 8:30 to 4:30. She had pretty flexible hours. She said that she communicated with Lindsay through texts and notes of the day that were left by Lindsay. So Lindsay would leave a note, Nanny would arrive, be able to go through and see what was, maybe happening that day or what food was in the fridge, whatever. She said Lindsay wanted the kids on a regular routine with sleep and food. The schedule was marked in a calendar book that they shared. In court, they played a short 3-second video of Callan. It was a video the nanny sent to Lindsay showing how he was bottle feeding. Elaine, the nanny, shared conversations she had with Lindsay, personal details about her struggles at the time.
Did you come to find out that Lindsay was having some issues?
I did.
Did she talk to you about that?
She did.
And what did she tell you about her issues?
She shared with me that she was suffering from postpartum.
Now, when she shared this information with you, had you noticed anything different about her demeanor or her presentation around the house?
I didn't at all.
Had her trips out of the house when you were there stopped or decreased during that time period?
No.
And did she tell you that at that time that she was seeing some doctors?
She did.
What about medication? Did you have any conversations with her about her taking medication during that time period?
I think we talked about she was going to stop the medication because she was trying to stop nursing.
that she was going to stop medication or she was going to start medication?
I think she was trying to stop something because she was going to. Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. Take your time.
She was not going to nurse Callan anymore because she was going to be starting a new medication.
Did she ever give you any details about the medication?
She didn't.
Do you recall seeing prescription bottles around the house?
I did.
Now, Elaine went on to testify that she saw the way Lindsay interacted with her children and called her a, quote, wonderful mom. Lindsay told her she struggled with sleep and would often go to the basement and try to go to sleep most nights. Patrick testified about that last week, that she just would try to get away and get some rest. Lindsay was set to return to work in November of 2022. After Thanksgiving, Elaine said she arrived at the home and spoke with Lindsay, who said she wasn't sure if she was going to go back to work. Elaine recalls that the decision was made for Lindsay to stay home with the kids. She and Patrick went for a walk. Then they came back to the house and they told Elaine that she would be let go because Lindsay would be able to care for the children and was not going back to work, and that Patrick was going to work from home. They gave her a 2 weeks notice, and that was going to be the end of her employment. Now, the Commonwealth asked Elaine to describe the children, and this was another very emotional moment in the courtroom, similar to the moment when Patrick was asked about it last week. It was at this point that Lindsay put her head down, her face was in her hands, her whole body was shaking while she cried.
Now, the kids themselves, you had the occasion to spend some time with Cora. And how would you describe Cora?
Oh, Cora was a girly girl who loved her babies very much. She was very sweet, and she loved arts and crafts and loved playing with her Fresh Mart, which was a little children's supermarket. She was lovely.
And Dawson, how about him? How would you describe him?
Dawson was full of energy, rambunctious, funny, silly.
Did you ever have any problem watching Dawson or keeping him under control? Or
not at all. I was only with him on a handful of occasions.
Did you ever see Dawson kind of interacting with his siblings, with Cora or with Callan?
I did.
And did you see anything, or could you tell us a little bit about Dawson's interactions with them?
Cora and Dawson played well. There was one occasion in the kitchen where they were playing, and I think Cora took one of his Play-Doh, something. He was playing with Play-Doh, and his reaction, he was frustrated, and he reached out and slapped Callan.
Now, were you alone with the kids during this interaction, or was Lindsay present too?
Lindsay was, I think, in the kitchen at the same time.
Did you see her react to that when she saw that behavior?
She did.
And what was the reaction? What did she do?
She went over and removed Callan. She removed Dawson from the room and came back and consoled Callan.
Okay. And eventually, did you see her go back and kind of talk to Dawson about his behavior and address it? Okay. And was that appropriate in your opinion?
Of course, yes.
How about how you would describe Callan? How would you describe him? You spent the most time with him, correct?
I did. He was the happiest, sweetest, easiest baby. He was just a love.
Just so heartbreaking. I think I've said that every single night, but I don't know what else to say about it. Elaine said that in her time working with the family, she never had any concerns about Lindsay. She was concerned at one point that Lindsay was losing a lot of weight, but she didn't have any concerns about whether the kids were safe or not. Now, Kevin Reddington, the defense attorney, focused on Lindsay being a great mom and the strong relationship that the nanny had with Lindsay.
What did you observe about her as a mother interacting with her kids?
I observed a wonderful mom who loved her kids, she was very concerned with their safety. She was very concerned with Callan's eating and sleeping. She was a wonderful mother.
And the district attorney asked you questions about what apparently is Exhibit 150 in this case. And that's the book that she would write notes to you on, and then you would on occasion write notes back to her. Is that right?
Yes.
So when the district attorney asked you to identify her writing, also there were photographs like that in the book as well, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know who would draw that? Would she draw that, or would you draw that?
I think I drew that. Yeah, I think so.
And for example, Thursday, September 29th, It says Callan last fed at time. Put him down for a nap at 9:35 with a smiley face. We will be home. Clean the clothes in the dryer if you get to it. And then Callan up at 10:45. And then some scribbling mark on the bottom. That's an indication of the type of notes that she would leave for you.
Correct.
Would she also leave notes for you to the effect of cutting up sweet potatoes and cutting up celery and things in 1-inch squares so that the kids can eat?
Yes, food prep, yes.
Did you find that to be overbearing or
Oh, not at all.
you didn't find that to be controlling, that she was trying to exert a control over you, did you?
Not at all.
Overall, the nanny went on to tell the jury that she loved Lindsay, and after she left the family home in December of 2022, she kept in touch with Lindsay. She would send texts from time to time. Lindsay always responded. It sounded like it was a mutually beneficial relationship, that even though she wasn't working for the family, she still was in touch with them, and obviously was stunned when she learned the news about what had happened to her former clients.
All right, so that is the main talking points of day 7. So I will get this up, and like I said, either tomorrow or over the weekend, we'll get the rest of this week's uploaded. Please join me for the rest of the regular podcast, and we'll see you soon. All right, thanks, guys. Bye.